I'm Yves Perriard. I was born in Switzerland. My mother was German, my father was French, my wife is Russian, my kids are American. I've done my aliyah a few years ago here. I've been planting many congregations among the Russian-speaking churches here in Israel, and I've been asked some time ago to work with this congregation because I've known Joseph Shulam for about 30 years. I used to be part of his same denomination before, so we have known over the years. And eventually he said, work together. And so he said, just come over here. And it's been a privilege for me to have a win-win situation where I can help as much as I can with some of my experience in church planting, and at the same time learning, for instance, from Moshe and all the traditions, and of course improving my Hebrew because I'm still going on in that direction. But it's my seventh language, so I think I'm going to be okay, But at a certain age, it gets a little bit more difficult. So the Sukkot, you probably are a specialist about Sukkot, what's the reason about why Sukkot has been instituted by God, that it's to remember that we as a nation in Israel were 40 years in the desert and that God provided for us, that He cared for us, that He protected us, that we were dependent on Him. And all those lessons have a spiritual meaning that we are constantly being reminded as we are ourselves in those huts for 1 week and being reminded that life is fragile, life is there's nothing stable. Life is like a big wasteland, and all what we have is God providing for us. So that's obviously a deep spiritual lesson, and much to be said. But since the theme today is about relationships for one of those feasts, then I had to take out what are some of the lessons that we can take from Sukkot, specifically that are related to relationships, because there's much to be said. Okay, so I think the first one that for me strikes right away is what you said. It's camping. It's an experience. It's something very practical. You are showing right now. Okay. This is you're watching right now. This is the kind of Sukkot that were done back in the times of, 2,000 years ago. They were far more, sturdy and like the real thing, that I had in wilderness, compared to the ones that today, the next picture you have, that you can find in Jerusalem. You can find hundreds of people that are sitting on there, like it's a majestic, it's like, fast art type of thing, It's nothing of an experience that what really was intended that God wanted us to have. Air conditioning, the real thing that God was asking is, guy, you got to experience something that what was like in the desert. You didn't have like a caravan, camping thing, going trailer with you, You didn't have any AC, you didn't have, no fan, no whatever. In fact, according to the traditions, how the sukkah, this booth is supposed to be built today, is like you have to let a little bit of wind that goes through. It's only through 2.5 walls. It's pretty wide open. There is palm trees there or whatever branches that it's all natural so that you have to see the stars. It's pure camping. It can be freezing at night or it can be very hot during the day. If you have those sukkah in the north there in Israel, it can even snow. This is real adventure. So in other words, sukkah is the big equalizer for everybody. Whether you're rich, you're poor, whatever status you are, if you're all in that camping thing.
As we have here people from Finland
yes,
and from Holland, I know for a fact they did their sukkah in snow.
In snow. Can you imagine? I try to imagine those who are going in East Texas, they're doing in the heat, It's like, it is something amazing. What I'm saying is that, why did not God just say, okay, for 1 week you're going to be in a temple, everything's going to be air conditioning, fine, all this, and 1 week, no. There's something about a communal experience where you do things together. Those of you who have gone on camping, you know that. It's just some very amazing thing, It binds you together. For me, some of the best experience and the things that have really shaped my experience of the Christian life is to do things with brothers, like going out on not just camping, excursion or dangerous things. And, you feel nature, you feel danger, you feel all this. And all of a sudden, for instance, the last church planting that I had in Odessa in Ukraine, for many years, we got up every morning at 6 o'clock, and I had all the leaders of my church, half a dozen, whoever wanted to come, and I always have 2, 3 at least that would be coming. We'd be running to the beach, doing a little bit of jogging and all this, and then swimming in the cold water in the winter with temperatures that would be about 0, 1, 2 degrees. I mean, when you do that together, it's like... You cannot just forget, after that, it wakes you up. And then after that, you had a time of praying as you walk back home. It was just amazing. You do that every morning for years. It shapes relationships. So that's one thing I really recommend you. Whatever that you can do as a congregations, to build relationships, do more practical, crazy, adventure, nature type of things. I mean, I've never understood why, they have those men's gathering conferences and the whole, for 3 days they are inside of a building and blah, 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 blah. They just, but if you, I don't know, that's who I am, Or for women, just 3 days of shopping, they're never going to forget that, Anyway, so that's the first thing that, you see, all those feasts have practical applications how we should live our life. We should take some, lessons how to better live our Christian life. Okay, the second one obviously is like, when you have those hearts, when I moved to Israel, and at first it was just, I knew about the sukkah, I knew about those things that you do in the tents and all this, but you arrive here in the land, and everywhere you have those tents. Wherever you go, in every street, on the streets, you have those sukkah that are everywhere, and it's just like an amazing experience, because you're not going to see that anywhere else. And all of a sudden, this whole idea that you invite total strangers, you invite people that could be poor, you invite people that have needs, you invite people that you may not even like. I mean, it's open to everybody. It's an amazing binding together. It's a spirit that all of a sudden unites yourself as a nation. I mean, just try to imagine, as a church, you put a sukkah or 2 or 3 around your church building. Already you're going to have attention. The people are going to say, what is that thing, And then, you get meals inside and you invite the people to come in, the whole week. I mean, if you just even, it's a crazy idea, but if you just did that, I am telling you, the whole community will know about your church. Those guys have done something incredible. It's like, wow, what is that, And they freely invite us, and they serve meals, and they accept us as we are. I mean, you are giving a clear message of something that is, we like you, we want you, we are together in this whole thing. The third thing that obviously is symbolic of a very powerful message, and it was commanded by God, is this thing that, where you have the picture just before, yes. Okay, you see here, there is the etrog and the lulav. Okay, the etrog is this lemon, okay, and the lulav is those 3, branches, whatever, So the lemon, okay, basically it has a symbolic meaning that has been given. Okay, the lemon has a good smell and a good taste. Okay, the palm tree, okay, has no smell but a good taste. The myrtle has a good smell but no taste, and the river willow, okay, has no smell and no taste. Okay, it is being said that the smell is the deeds, The taste is the knowledge of the Torah. In other words, there are people that have good knowledge of the scriptures and good deeds. That's the lemon. And there are people that, on the other extreme, they have no knowledge of the Torah and no deeds. But there is everything in between. And that's why it's interesting. In a Jewish culture, it's about 4 categories, not about 2. I remember Jesus gave 4 kinds of people that would be, the good seeds or the bad seeds. So it's not just this one or the other. And so is it with the church. I mean, the church is made of the lemons, and it's made of the willows, the good to nothing. In other words, when we take this, you can show the picture that I was just before that all the Jews do. Okay, it's interesting. They hold here the lemon, okay, and then they hold the lulav, okay, and every day they're doing a blessing where they are doing like this, like this, like this, like this, and then up and down, okay, to make this symbolic expression that all parts are important, that we as a nation, we are united with the lemons, the perfect, the nobodies, everybody is together in one thing, all united in harmony. This is an incredible picture of unity. If we could find expressions in your congregations where you are trying to say everybody is important. I don't know how to do it practically, that's why the beauty of that symbol. But if you had ways to say, here we have some people that are very poor, uneducated, they matter to us. Here we have other people that are super sharp, super rich, those people matter to us as well. Everybody in between matters. And if we had practical ways to honor everybody, to make everybody feel like they all are important, we don't make any distinctions. We all are needed. I don't know, you think about ways, but God has given us this symbol to look at ways how we keep better. Now, how do you keep a group of people that are in unity while having such a diversity? You've been probably in those churches where it's chaos, everybody does his own thing, and nobody cares, and they're all fighting against each other. And then you got other churches where everybody has to think alike and believe exactly the same, have all the same behavior, and it's kind of almost control. How do you get a church where you have diversity and yet you have unity? I think the answer is very simple. It's grace. The sukkah is built with those 3 walls, and above you're supposed to see the sky, the stars at night. It has a very symbolic meaning, that the sky, the presence of God has to come through. Grace is the only thing that keeps us together. So if there's one thing that I would say about keeping unity in the church, is to start creating a spirit where truly we can accept people as they are. We don't leave them as they are. We help everybody to change. But we have a spirit where people can know, I'm okay with where I am. At this stage of my life, spiritually or whatever, socially, I'm accepted. I'm not judged. I'm not put aside. And that starts obviously with the leaders or whoever, but it starts with you, maybe having a spirit where you are accepting others. It's interesting. I'll tell you the secret, and I found a connection absolutely incredible in Sukkot. There was something unique. When the temple was still there was the service that was performed every morning during the Sukkot. It was the Nisuch Hamayim, the pouring of the water, the liberation ceremony, okay? And according to the Talmud, The Sukkot is the time in the year which God judges the world for rainfall. Therefore, in this ceremony, like the taking of the 4 spices I mentioned before, it evokes God's blessing for rain in its proper time. So, according to the Mishnah, the water for the liberation ceremony was drawn from the pool of Siloah, okay, that was near the city of David, and it was carried all the way up, okay, to the temple. And there was an amazing joy that was accompanying that. The people were singing every night. In the courtyard around the temple, there were thousands of people that were, they would gather, they would rejoice, and they would dance, they would have a big masiba party. I mean, it was like an amazing thing. In fact, the Talmud is saying, he who has not seen the rejoicing at the place of the water drawing has never seen rejoicing in his life. I mean, throughout Sukkot, the city of Jerusalem teamed with Jewish families who came on the holiday pilgrimage and joined together for the feasting and Torah studying. I mean, when the temple was destroyed, that stopped. A few decades ago, in some Hasidic groups, all this, there was some kind of restorations that came back. And today, you can see that in New York or some groups, even in Israel, in the middle of this. It's a celebration. Those guys are dancing. They are partying. They have water balloons. They have really incredible party, feasting and all this. It's joy. Why? Because the Feast of Sukkot is all about joy. 7th time, I think it's been mentioned about, we have to rejoice. So there was something very special. And interestingly, it's the very moment in John chapter 7, verse 38, when Jesus said that last day of Sukkot during the feast, he says, whoever believes in me, there will be streams of living water flowing out from him. See, when we believe in Jesus truly, when we understand how much God loves us, then something happens from within where we can accept the people as they are. It's all connected. It's impossible to love people that are the nobodies, the people that you don't really like, the people that you wonder what are they doing here. I mean, let's face it, we all have kinds of people like this. And you cannot do that unless you have been touched by the love of God that says, I love you as you are. I have accepted you. You are part of my nation. You are my people. And you are loved, you are accepted, you are respected, I will take you like this. When we understand that from our God, then we can give that away to others. And then we can create an atmosphere within our congregation where there's unity within diversity. I think that's one of the many messages that we can take from the Sukkot. Thank you.